Hi, Moon Muffins. Oh my gosh, it has been quite a while. And I wanted to apologize for such a long delay, but I've been taking the past year off to ground and I'm working on projects that are taking a long time. But I wanted to talk about manifestation in this episode because when you really put in the work in yourself, things will start to open up, channels will open up, resources will start piling in. Sometimes it'll be like people or energies that are no longer like aligned with you. Maybe they're not healthy bonds for you. They'll start exiting. And I get these sort of questions on short format content creating where people ask like, well, how do you manifest? And you're probably broke anyways, bitch. And they try to invalidate you because they think witchcraft is like, oh, I'm going to light a candle and be like a millionaire. But there are plenty of witches who are multimillionaires, though. That is the thing that we are talking about today. And it's not about the money, it's about your resources and what you have in your environment. And what people don't understand is we are in a layer of systems right now that's causing the collective to feel very self-conscious, feel very afraid, embarrassed to put themselves out there. You might be not in the best health, or you might not be in the best relationship, all of these factions. You don't have time, you're exhausted. It is systematically set up for us to be so exhausted and defeated. And now we're sitting here wondering, well, what do we do? What the fuck is the point of all this? You have to transmute that energy. You don't have to see it in a way where it's like, anytime something big or bad happens, like, oh, I'm going to bank in on that. Like, I think that when you start chasing that, you're going to dive into another realm of illusions, and you're going to be in a psychological trap of that. And then you're just chasing money, and it's going to chip away at you. I think for me, the best thing that I did was to stop giving a shit about what people thought of me. When you start detaching yourself from toxic situations, toxic habits, things that aren't good for you, people, places, things, that is the hard part, because you're already so uncomfortable, so you want to cling on to your comfort, right? I'm going to pull some cards for you guys, actually. And what happens then is you become weighed down. You become weighed down by energy that's no longer serving you, and then you're not in alignment either. This is like Ace of Coins in reverse. Weighed down. Page of Wands in reverse. You don't want to talk. Ace of Wands in reverse. You are not aligned with your higher self. And what you have to do is ground. The Queen of Pentacles says to ground. She is very grounding. She's very stable. And she's the type of current that wants you to have what you deserve. But you need to be real with yourself, and you need to practice stillness. And that's something that I actually have been practicing with Belial for the past year. I have ongoing pacts with other demons that are just working in that current right now. And there's nothing left to say for the time being, but I have been very steady with Belial in grounding. And when I mean grounding, it's not just, we kind of nonchalanted, oh, we're going to go outside and be in the dirt and we're going to kind of get some exercise. I mean, making ritual out of the mundane without it being performative, without it being like ritualistic, without just spitting scriptures and incantations, like actually enjoying what you're doing and connecting with, for me, him. But for other people, it could be with yourself, with another earth daimon, with whatever it is, your ancestors. And what happens is you start realizing, oh, I'm having the human fucking experience here. And it starts to add up. You start to make those tinctures, and that herb shelf starts to pack up, and you're feeling more like a witch, or you're feeling more like an herbalist. And you're like, hey, maybe now I can start this business idea. And what are you doing while you are working on those things in the present and grounding? You're not stressed about your bills. You're not stressed about who said what. You're not worried about what people are thinking about you. Like, that is part of it too. So I am not in a disposition where I can say, yes, I'm a multimillionaire and this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. But what I can say is for the past almost 4 years now, I have been studying financial discipline. I have been understanding financial fluency and applying that to my life by seeing more resources, and also disconnecting from a system that's set up to make me chase a carrot that doesn't fucking exist. And when we start to accept that, we can come in and energetically flank and take what's ours. Because you're going to be sovereign, you're going to be solid, you're going to feel better about yourself, you're going to be more confident, you're going to work toward that without having to hang on to that title too, without having to hang on to, I got this, I got that. Like wealth is fucking silent. Money's loud, rich is loud, because rich needs validation. Okay, I used to be one of those girls that I had my bills paid and I had my little savings, but I would also drop $300 on a pair of plastic fucking sunglasses. And because they had the design that I wanted, and they were from this brand or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's a problem. I'm saying is if you don't have a house and property, you can't afford that shit, you know? And what I'm saying is if I don't have a stable network and income doing the things that I want to do, I can't afford those glasses yet. Like if I'm a fashion vlogger or if I'm a fashion vlogger or like a model or something, fair enough. If you're going to invest into that sort of stuff, like that's fine. But that's also means that you're going to make sacrifices elsewhere. That means you're not going to be going out with your friends clubbing and drinking, because that $300 is going to add up in a weekend. You're going to have to say no so you can get those sunglasses, right? Because you want to do this project and you have a vision for it. You can also sell those sunglasses in consignment and use that money for something else. Like there's ways that you can go about it. And what happens is we start creating our own universe because we're not so worried about every other motherfucker, every celebrity, every politician, every this. Should we be paying attention to what's going on in the world? Yes. Should we question every single resource and who owns that? Who owns fact checked? Who owns the fucking news? Who owns this? Yes, absolutely. Should we question, hey, why is there a big Cardi B trial for some dumb bitch that wants to get money? Why is the government so silent? Yes, absolutely. But in the meantime, you go, cool, that's all great news and everything, but I'm still deciding to live my life the way that I want to, and I really want to make this like fashion magazine. And I want to make this ebook, or I want to really make this recipe, or I want to open up this pop-up. You have to work toward becoming the person that does that then and be unapologetic. And I'm going to tell you, for somebody who has a small fry on all their social media platforms, I think I have 6 platforms total now. I can tell you that it takes a lot of guts to not give a shit if people from your past start scooping out your stuff, if people start talking smack. It's none of my business. I don't check my stories to see who's scoping them out. I don't check and see who's liking my posts. I'm too fucking busy. Once the project's done, I'm on to the next one. Or I am sitting here with this laptop that a friend of mine let me borrow because I didn't have a laptop. And how amazing is that? Like a nice manifestation. And I just write down my ideas for the next one, or I write, the things that I want to take B-roll footage of, because Kitchen Occultist has been like stagnant, and there's a huge reason for that. I have been working so hard in the meantime, raising kids and growing and failing resources. And now finally this year I have an abundant garden. Now I have a bit more money coming in. Now I have a lot more time because my kids are getting older. Everybody has a routine. We all have some disciplines. It took time. Nobody knew that. I talk about it a little bit, but nobody saw me grinding in the dark for the past few years, and I'm still doing it even more now. And that's how you start manifesting. And the beautiful part is it's not always going to be a stream of income. Sometimes, if your partner is getting on your nerves, just do a transmutation money spell and they'll get more overtime. So that can work too, like for real, like that fucking super works. But, so I've done that before, but a lot of times, but and I have transmutation money bowls too. You can even collect like limes, like for the negative energy and stuff. If you put limes out with cloves and suck that energy in, I put it at the bottom of my bowl. I have a sigil and I transmute. I have my demonic money bowls. I have one in my kitchen and one in here because those are my money making rooms. And everybody in my house that's an adult has a money bowl. And they might not have a demonic one, but they have one that's associated to theirs. We all grind to build. In the meantime, what are you going to do? Waste time scrolling on social media? Don't feel ashamed of that, but like put a limit on it. Put a limit on the things that you're doing, because your mind, your energy is going toward that. And I know it's hard, and I know that nobody wants to be preached to. Nobody should be shaming you for doom scrolling and bed rotting. Okay, I do it too. And I have days where I don't want to do a thing. I'm catatonic and I want to stare at the wall for 6 hours because my life is fucking hard. And then I get going. And slowly I'll get to what I got to do, and I might get something done here and something done there, and I build and I build and I build. It's hard because if you don't have a system set up for you, if you don't have like-minded people encouraging you, and when I mean encouraging, I don't mean the people that are there at the start and cheering you on until you start making progress, then all of a sudden there's crickets chirping. I mean the people that are like, let's do it today. You will attract those sort of people eventually. You don't have that right now. What you can do... Sorry, I have a spell going on with Belial back there. What's going on? What you can do is, this is going to sound crazy, but clean your house. If you struggle with mess, and I'm like I'm pretty tidy, but I still have like boxes of clutter, and I got clothes I got to go through in my office and all of this stuff. Get rid of shit. Sell things, throw it out, give it to donations, give it to the Catholic Church. Whatever it is that you have to do, see it as energy that you're allowing to leave your environment so you can make way for more prosperity, and then you will get like some really high quality thing. You might find it at a thrift store. You might be given it. You might get the money out of nowhere for that, thing that you wanted, that $600 or whatever. But the thing is we need to not cling on to the want. You want because you are starving for experience. You're not supposed to be this deprived. There's so many resources to go around, but we're under a system of oligarchy that wants to keep us as slave labor like they did in motherfucking antiquity. Just like our demons, our gods, they fought for that. A spectrum of them did. I'm not going to say all of them had these great intentions, but like partially UPG, they wanted expansion for human beings. They wanted us to think for ourselves. They didn't want us to be sterilized like we are now, because look around, even on social media, everybody's doing the same jig and dance. Everybody looks the same. They're using the same fucking filters. They're using the same everything. We're becoming NPCs. Everybody has to copy everybody's fashion. Everybody, it's one thing to be inspired, and it's okay to like trends. I'm not against trends or anything. What I'm against is everybody hyperfixates. I got to do that too. And now everybody's the same fucking person. And it's just nuts now. We can't even tell each other apart. And I'm not shaming anybody. It's just programmed. It's by design. I've got coconut water here. Speak into your waters, okay? I talk to my beverages. I set intentions to my beverages. This is your life. It's not hurting anybody. The thing is we are a vessel, okay? And voice, like when you do set intentions for things, if you have like a cinnamon latte or something like that, you are going to want to set those incantations. Your voice is a vessel that's Hertz frequency. You are supposed to be aligning with that. You are supposed to be feeling that. You are supposed to be demanding from your environment, also sharing those energies and having gratitude, utilizing those energies. They're here to serve you. That doesn't mean that we're supposed to be abusing them and letting the earth go to rot. It's supposed to be a cycle, and we're out of balance. So that's what it has been. Because, people will ask like, well, how do you manifest this? It's really a lot. I've gone through a lot living in this country, and not being allowed to work here has been a huge detriment because of the cost of living and stuff like that. And I made the decision, and this is so easier said than done because I've struggled so much off camera and behind the scenes like any human being, is I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm going to go ahead and continue to write my recipes and try to homestead with very little resources. I'm going to try my hardest, and I did in my townhouse garden, and it was such a small backyard space. And then I somehow manifested off the market a 1/4 acre plot with an office that's detached from the main house. It's completely gated, like ridiculously bolted and gated, because I have a nonverbal child that can just leave. And everything is so secure, and it's like the safest place I've ever lived in my life. It's very quiet. I don't have neighbors. I do have neighbors, but not a lot. And it's just very nice, and I feel blessed. And this is still not enough for me. I'm not saying, I want more, but like I think about this. Okay, this is a 1/4 acre. I really would like to see what 5 acres looks like. And then you have a reason for that, and what I do is, because a lot of these places around me, they're about a 1/4 acre plot. I put 4 of them together in my mind, and I go, okay, that's about an acre then. And then you stand on your land, or maybe like even in a soccer field. I go to the soccer fields to go run in the morning sometimes, and I'll think when there's nobody there, I'm like, what if I owned all of this land, like in equivalence? And it's like the whole park and everything, and you're not thinking about it in an energetic way, which is very sterile and blockagey, where you're like, this is mine. You're going to convince yourself that the public park is yours. No, but like stand there for a minute and go, if I had this amount of land, and ground into the earth and watch your energy spread into it, and you're like, fuck, that's so possible. And then come back in, release it, talk to your guides. I go for a run with Belial at times, and I will discuss that in my mind. Like, yeah, I really do I do plan on manifesting that and would like the tools for that, because I have this plan, this plan, this plan for it, and I know what I want for my life. I also set my goals and my intentions and then release them and live my life. I don't sit there and just cling on to hope and, oh, I gotta hope this pays off. You can't do that. It's energy. You're just clinging on to the energy at that point. Release it. And you can release it by staying busy. You can release it by being still. You can release it by doing things that you enjoy. Be present in what you do. That is the best lesson that I have learned with Belial, is how to ground and how to be present. And when you do that and you practice the discipline of stillness, you don't let your mind, condition your mind into not just going when there's nothing going on and going, fuck, I gotta grab my phone because I got all this noise. Practice that stillness, declutter it. Imagine the words, let them come. Sometimes when we meditate and then all of a sudden some random fucking thing that happened like 20 years ago comes in, let it happen and then just release it. I don't need this. Transmute it. I don't need that thought. And then you just become very still. And then the energy starts to shift in your environment. And when you can detect that, you understand that you're in control of this. You understand that you're in control of your paradigm. And that's all you fucking need. And I'm telling you, you will have resources given to you, gifted to you, doors will open, and it really has happened for me, and it's been odd. I can't explain certain things legally right now, but there have just been a lot of ridiculousness that's coming into my favor, and I can't get into it, but it's really mind-blowing how my life works, and it's very unconventional and it's very magical. But I also don't go, I'm just gonna vibe with the demons all day and I'll manifest, yes bitch, because I don't have to pay bills, because I've never paid any bills in my life, but I also have a trade. My name's on all the bills. I know what to do, and I know that I could if I needed to, outside of my circumstances here in this country right now, if I was legally allowed to work. But outside of that, you understand what I mean. You're willing to get your hands dirty. You're willing to get some grit on your hands and dive in and get to work. And that's the hard part. Some people, they might just be too tired to do that because they're already doing a lot of that. And then there's a spectrum of people that are like, ew, I'm not going to get my hands dirty. I'm not doing that. And it's like, well, first of all, bitch, who are you? You're not anybody. No, none of us are special. I don't give a fuck if you're a queen or a king or a princess. You're not special. You are in the same fucking caliber as everybody else. And if you don't want to get your hands dirty, you can't complain that somebody else doesn't want to do it for you. You have to know how to delegate before you start getting that demanding. You see a lot of celebrities do that because they've been brainwashed to think that they're better than everybody else, and they can't handle any dirt. They can't handle it. They flinch because they're so used to their comforts. So it's like, for me in demonology and manifestation, when it comes to resources, for my path, it's about being able to get your hands dirty, but also enjoying that time of rest. And that's something that you got to do too. So what we have is the Emperor. The Emperor is the foundation. The Emperor is solid. I associate Belial with the Emperor, even though he's not associated with that card a lot. That's just my little thing. And then you have the Seven of Swords in reverse and the Tower. So that shows me that you have to let go of things. The Seven of Swords in reverse is you got to be honest with the situation. You have to let go of the illusions and let the fucking Tower hit. I'm going to try to pull all these cards. People give me shit because this is from a video game, but I don't give a shit, bitch. You're not paying my fucking bills. This is from Dragon Age Inquisition. But we have the Emperor. That's the foundation. That's the spine. That's the what's the plan? Well, I don't know. Then you got to figure something out. Don't pretend that you're confident you have the resources. That's where you start, okay? Because that's why you don't know. Because you're just sitting there, you're like, oh, well, squishy. You're just being like a little squishmallow, I don't know. And you can't do that. You're in a goddamn Shark Tank. You can't do it anymore. You can still be a little squishmallow, but you got to be a monster first, okay? And then you can come home and be a squishmallow. So we have the Emperor, and the Emperor's energy states that you have to really solidify what it is that you want to do. So if you are saying, I don't know what I want to do because I'm not good at anything, pretend that you have confidence and money. What would you want to do? Oh, I want to be a photographer. There you go. That's a starting point, okay? And then you have the Seven of Swords in reverse. You need to let go of illusions that you can't. You need to stop doing that. Just because you have limitations, those are just obstacles. Those are just obstacles. You might not be able to do it in the way that makes you feel glorious. That's the problem, is everybody wants to be Michael Jordan. You know, that's the problem, is that people want the glory. They want, I want to be the Michael Jordan of this. And it's like, well, Michael Jordan probably did a lot of bullshit that a lot of people wouldn't do, plus had extreme passion. That's why that individual became a household name. You know, I'm not glorifying anything if they're bad or good. I don't care. The tower moment is what you need to do. You need to let it collapse. You need to let these disillusions in you go already. And what happens is this comes in stages. You're not going to heal everything overnight. A lot of you guys are on your path anyways, but you're like, why am I still broke? I'm powerful. Because you're not believing in yourself. You're not letting the mysticism of living life materialize. Does that make sense? You're not letting miracles happen. You're waiting for a miracle, or waiting until you have energy, waiting for something. You can't wait. You have to make that happen by making movement, getting rid of shit in your house that no longer serves you. If you have to clean your house, start with a drawer. Once that drawer is clean, your head's going to feel so much better, and you know that it's witchcraft. Is it not? Is it not a grounding ritual? When you get rid of all of the dirt and like the bubble gum in your drawer and like the 4,000 pens that are probably dried out and whatever else is in there, and you just throw it out, you have space now in your mind. You feel more relief. You don't feel scattered. Like your house is a mirror of your mind. And it's not going to always be perfect. Even somebody that's really tidy like me, I can be all over the place. My office gets very chaotic at times, and I'm in the middle of renovations as well too, so it's been a bit nuts. But you have to understand that that's what it's going to take. You have to make movement. So it might be your room, but how do you feel in your room when it's very, very dirty and it's very noisy, full of like clothes you don't wear, or, you know, maybe a collection of things that you just don't notice, or they are full of dust, or you're going to do something with it. Like sometimes it's okay to let things go if they no longer serve you. You had that experience. If you got like 5,000 fucking Funko Pops and you don't want them anymore, you don't need to feel bad because you bought 5,000 Funko Pops. You need to figure out, can I do something with them? Can I make content with them? If not, can I sell them? Do I need them? Can I do I really need all of them? And I'm not saying if you're like an avid collector. Some of you are like, bitch, back off. I am totally understanding. I mean, for the people that had this big collection of Funko Pops, but now they're collecting dust and they're just not doing anything, but they don't want to let go, but they don't care anymore. That is the paradigm. That's the paradigm peeling. Okay, that is where you get rid of things. And I am telling you, it's easy too. When you get tired of people's shit too, you just start throwing things out. You're like, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this. You can donate things, you can sell them. List a couple things on eBay if you have a few pairs of shoes. This isn't about making money off of selling your shit. This is about energy. This is about clearing your mental space, clearing your physical space so you can attract new. Because if it's all full of old like energy, old furniture that's broken down, old clothes that you might fit into one day, or they, unless they have some sort of like really big meaning to you, give them out to somebody you care about. If you got a granddaughter or something that can use those beautiful dresses that you wore in the 70s, fucking let her have fun. Or your grandson, whatever. You know, like that is part of it, is we need to have momentum in our life. Money is water energy and it's always flowing. I have been all over the place financially because of my mentality. But I will say, as a witch and as a spiritualist, I feel very blessed in my life. I have never had to, despite how hard I've had to work just to build my own career, I've never had to pay bills. I've never been required to. It's never been even wanted from me. And that could be a double-edged sword, because to a lot of women that's very appealing, but I also went to school and have a trade, and I still work from home, and I'm building something from home, and that's part of the package too. We can't just glamorize this one easy sort of circuit, you know, because there's plenty of great people, men and women, who like to provide for their families. And if you're old school like that, that's great, because I'm pretty old school. I'm doing enough, but I also will dive in and help out, and I do my part too, as a little blue collar worker, because I'm a retired cook and all. Sometimes people will ask, you know, the like how Cartman says, they start trying to nitpick and being like, well, how come your magic doesn't work? It's like, bitch, it does. I have time, I have peace, I have an edible for breakfast and my iced coffee in my fucking garden, and I get to raise my kids, and I have businesses that I'm building, and I have resources now that I had to like literally grow shit out of clay for a while. like clay soil. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it was so bad. Like my plants were suffocating and I just did not have the means because it's so expensive. And I just kept trying and trying. And then those resources came into my fruition. And it's so nice now because now I can dream bigger and I can dream of things that I really want to experience in this world. And if I don't get there by the time I kick the bucket, who cares? Am I going to die with honor or not? Did I break some sort of cycles? Did I teach my children, if because I have children personally, to do something different, to believe in themselves? Did I break that cycle? Yes. That's what you're doing. You even wanting to manifest your breaking cycles, because a lot of people are like, that's not realistic. Then what is? Working until you die, doing something you fucking hate by a company that you're disposable in? Or paying absurd amounts of money for a certificate? And a lot of the times universities now have just like complete propaganda that they're selling people, and they're stupefying people. It's true. You're paying for a business brand when you do that. Am I saying that having credentials is bad? No. Go to school if that's what works for you, but don't cling on to it thinking that's going to solve your problems or make you intelligent, because it won't. Because I know a lot of dumb fucking people with degrees, and I know a lot of smart people that were in prison for years. So it's just like, it doesn't matter. You can't buy that. You have to live life. You have to learn from your experience. There's wisdom that comes from convicts because they lived a different life. I've got the Empress upright and I've got the Ace of Cups upright. And I'm going to pull another one for you guys. The King of Wands upright. The universe is saying, just listen to this bitch, okay? Because that's what it's about. The Empress energy is all about being solid with herself. She's still soft. The Empress knows how to conduct her energy. She's like a priestess in a way. She knows how to use her words. She knows that her energy is sacred. And then she becomes more aligned with herself with the Ace of Cups. Like the Ace of Cups is the prosperity. That is the prosperity. That is you coming into fruition. That is you are in the current of your divine fucking self. Ace of Cups is your cup is full. All right. The Ace of Cups is your divine self understands the current and understands prosperity. And it doesn't have to be digital numbers on a bank account that these motherfuckers are just making up. It's a problem too. Like the King of Wands wants you to be solid with that. That is the spiritual sovereignty. That is the spiritual masculine. That is remember, you are not a loser because you can't afford shit right now when this system's fucking making it impossible for anybody to afford shit because we've been lied to for decades. We've been lied to. Like humanity has been under such a huge spell for thousands of years now. For what, going on 4,000 years now? And that's what we were designed to be, is just slave labor. And the fallen angels wanted us to have expansion. We can become gods. I think if you're chasing that, you're not on the right path. I don't think that you're gonna become a god by chasing that for glory. Good luck. You're just gonna be fucking fighting yourself with the Five of Cups, if anything, and you're gonna be mad at the end because it's gonna take you on another journey. And sometimes that can happen too with occultism. I notice like a lot of men, especially who want to become in their dark divinity, and I think that's so honorable, is they'll start chasing those numbers, they'll start chasing those titles, they'll start fighting with themselves. Does that make sense? And you don't need to go down that fucking journey of godhood thinking that, I'm gonna get what's mine and that's that. You need to understand why it is that you want the things that you want, not just have them because I'm a king. Like that's the thing. Why are you a king? What does the king do? How does the king conduct himself? How does the King of Wands conduct himself? Is he telling everybody he's a king? Hell no, you can't even see him. He just knows. He's not fighting himself like the Five of Cups. A lot of gentlemen, I see this in my communities, they fight themselves because you guys are warriors and you are being conned. You are being fucking siphoned. And that makes me upset too, because we have a lot of divide off topic between genders and everybody's got problems. Let's not pretend. But we got bigger problems that are causing these problems. And if you want to be into that divinity where you want to get what's yours, you don't need to fight for that title. You don't need to, I'm a god. I just see a lot of ego, and you can go on that path, but shut the fuck up about it is the point. I would know if you're a god. A lot of us witches would know that. We would know. The Page of Swords says, shut the fuck up already, we know. But that's the thing, if you're trying to convince everybody else, like, that's not what wealth does. Wealth is very silent. Wealth is stealthy. Wealth is silent, and you don't have to be performative. Yeah, some of these people have their high-end rules and shit like that, you know, for etiquette. I worked at those places, all right? I would be sitting down at those tables with those shareholders and saying, you know what? I think it's bad etiquette not to mind your own fucking business instead of worrying about how I'm scooping my soup, bitch. And, you know, that's just how I am. But anyways, the Nine of Swords, you got to stand your ground though about that sort of stuff when you're coming into those arenas. And the Wheel of Fortune, that is shifting. The Wheel of Fortune isn't always like, I'm going to get this big prize or this jackpot. It's about, there are shifts. We go through seasons. We've experienced poverty. We've experienced glimpses of wealth. We've experienced wealth. We've experienced love. We've experienced heartbreak. And you have to understand that's the whole cycle of it. The Six of Coins solidifies that you need to be grounded in these times, because when you have these shifts coming in, it's going to feel overwhelming and you're going to want to flinch and push it back, and you don't need to. You stand your ground with the Six of Coins, because the Six of Coins is very abundant. It's very grounded in abundant energy. And that happens sometimes when you notice your manifestations are starting to come into fruition, and sometimes they will be very oddball, okay? Especially if you are a demonic witch and you are very much so aligned with Belial, you are going to have ridiculousness. And it's almost going to be like, please make it stop because it's too much. And he will just be like, it's yours to deal with now. And you will be able to make beautiful magic out of those resources. You'll be able to create, you'll be able to make maybe some spell kits or that beautiful acrylic art project that you want to do, and that those resources are so expensive. That's what it's about. I think we're getting so stuck on the idea of like what we see in advertising, right? We're like, ooh, I want that, but then we don't really know what that feels like. We just see the two-dimensional sort of energy of it, and then we want and we want and we want, and then we give that energy to these machines, to these systems, and then we feel like, well, I really wish I had this thing. And I think that it makes me really sad, because we should be able to have the things that we want and hold value to. And we put value on these things too. You got to understand that some of the things that you guys are feeling depressed about designer shit, that it's just somebody's last name. This is coming from somebody who used to be a girl that loved that sort of stuff. And I still do. I still like designer stuff, but it's got to be good quality. It's got to be long lasting. And, you know, I'm not trying to wear somebody else's last name anymore. I want to make sure that those clothes aren't wearing me. I want to make sure that they're a good frequency, they're well made, and you feel good. And when you start to invest a little bit into yourself, your frequency will change. I'm not big on the whole high vibe, low vibe, you know, positive, negative sort of frequency, because I do work with very low frequency sort of energies. I believe that there's a spectrum of that. So when I talk about aligning with frequencies, please don't get it twisted that I'm on this linear sort of like, the light is good and dark is bad. Like, I don't like that one bit. For me, it's being on the same wavelength of knowing that when you put good quality clothes on, there is a hertz frequency to them, and you feel very good. Like, well-made natural things have a frequency. Polyester has a frequency. Everything that we touch has a frequency. It's witchcraft. We weren't supposed to know all of this. And look around. A lot of people don't. And that's why we're wearing plastic. That's why we're eating plastic. That's why we're fucking obsessed and fighting over plastic. And plastic's fine. I like plastic. I miss straws. I think it's bullshit that we don't have plastic straws while these oligarchs are just jet setting and trying to tell us what our moral compass needs to be. Like, no, go fuck yourself. So when it comes to your manifestations, you guys, the best thing that I recommend is to start working on your confidence and start working on your dreams. Make vision boards, make digital vision boards. When you have nothing to do, just goof around with it. I had some vision boards, but I changed electronics not too long ago. But I make vision boards for like equipment that I want, or musical equipment, or even digital equipment for filming, because I'm not really happy with my phone, and some of my equipment's becoming obsolete, and I'm manifesting new versions of that so I can have more creative freedom is my biggest thing. And that's a part of it. And when I talk about working on your confidence, this is going to be kind of a hard reality, but you got to work on your health and your image, and just take it slowly and be graceful to yourself. And don't you fucking let anybody tell you that you're doing something wrong or that you have to change because of some superficial reason. But the reality is when you do feel good, for those of you who've like gotten in really good shape, or you started building muscle and stuff, you know that your energy shifts, your confidence shifts. Hold on. I have a spell going on, so I don't know if you can see it. All of these things make a difference. This is all frequency. It's be abundant. That's the thing that I noticed too, is a lot of people are very limiting, like, oh, I don't need no. If some billionaire can do it, okay, and I'm not talking about getting billions, but convince themselves that they deserve a yacht, then you wanting your home business and you wanting, like, you know, to start a fashion magazine is not like unobtainable. You have to just do it anyways and not care if it becomes successful. Like, there are so many projects that I really loved doing that got like 100 views, and I didn't care because I moved on to the next thing. If anything, most of my videos that I put the most effort into, that I care about, don't fucking get any traction at all. And then some stupid thing I do will get like a bunch of views, or something that I just randomly do because I'm having fun, which is holds merit as well, right? I'm in that frequency of having fun. That's what happens. Those other projects, they end up becoming like, they resurface a few years later. It's weird. And I'm like, oh, I forgot that I did that, you know, and now it's cool for somebody. So that's another thing too. If you have like a business that fails, that's a stepping stone for you. You don't have to, we get stuck on this idea, and I believe it's an energetic con to hope and cling into, like, oh, I need this to work. Oh, I need to grovel. Oh, I need this. You're not pathetic like that. We don't do patheticism on a dark path, first of all. We don't fucking chase. We don't grovel. We attract. You stand your fucking ground, and you ground by being in the present. You ground by working on yourself. Do a little beauty care, you know, for those of you who like skincare. You don't got to spend a lot of money. You know what I do? Brown sugar, I do CBD or olive oil, and a little bit of coffee grounds, and I do like a coffee scrubby in the shower. You do little things. You need to put effort into yourself because you feel better. When your body is clean, you're going to feel better, right? Your energy is like, I can breathe already. You have to take care of your vessel. You are a witch. You are a very powerful magician. You're supposed to be taking care of your environment. Unless you really thrive in filth and chaos, that's an energetic current that exists, and I'm not going to fight with you. I'm not going to tell you what to do because it works for you. And in energetic nature that exists. So I'm not trying to say that I have all the answers, because some of you are like, well, I'm rich and I live like a fucking pig. And I'm like, but you probably own up to it though, right? You probably, like, you have a confidence of it. So it really, you know, I'm not trying to fight with everybody, and I'm definitely not trying to shame people for their lifestyles or anything if you struggle with that, because depression and that sort of stuff, it contributes. But how do you feel when your house is clean compared to when it's dirty? How are you going to manifest in a dirty house if it's weighing you down, if all of that broken furniture and the dust and whatever's going on? And some people, they have like, you know, old food or something like that. Like, that's all just trauma. And it might be hard, but you know what? Just one thing at a time. One bag of garbage at a time. One bag of something from the pantry or your closet, and it's going to feel better. Like, it will feel better. And I know some people might struggle with that, like with mental health or maybe with hoarding. So I want to be sensitive about that. But the reality is when you let go of those energetic attachments, you make room for more things in your life. That doesn't mean that, like, people who have a clean house, they're always prosperous, and people who have a messy house aren't. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you can still expand. Even, let's say you do have money, but your house might not be in the order that you want it to be in. You still are missing out on something. I know that there's something that you'd rather be doing and you feel like a blockage. You might have the resources, but you might just feel weighed down and anxious and self-conscious and da-da-da-da-da. You got to work on that. Because no one's ever going to validate you. And that's a liberty. That's freedom. There's freedom in that. When you realize no matter how great you do, how great you look, how much money you have, how wonderful your life is, there's always going to be some fucking asshole that's hating. And a lot of the times it's people that you know very well. And you got to just let it go, because it's none of your business what they think about you. And if they were minding their own, they would have their own businesses, and they wouldn't be trying to siphon your energy and destiny swap. All right, Moon Muffins, I have to actually cut this short because my phone's running going out of space because I did a lot of filming for the past few days for you guys. So I'm going to let you go. But yeah, guys, that's what it is about. You want to manifest, then it's going to start with you working on your confidence and working on what it is that you want to do. And it might take a long time. And I'm still on my journey, but I am telling you, like, demonology absolutely works. And your life will start to really manifest in magical ways. And you'll have a lot of relief. And for me, my problem was, according to Belial, who is sitting right there next to me and is always staring, is all I had to do was ask. And because I get dumbfounded sometimes with like just how divinely just blessed I really feel. I put in a lot of work, okay? But I struggle with that. I struggle so much with asking for help that was the whole lesson. Because anytime I do a spell with him, it's like absurd shit that will happen. And I think that's the kicker for some people too. Like if people who are easily can ask, you might have a different journey. And then for some of us who it's really difficult to ask for help, and I'm like, I don't want to even bother him with my problems. Like it's so bad with the demons that I'm like, oh, because I'm crying over something, some trauma, somebody's fucking hurting me, and he's there, and I'm just like, I got it. You have enough on your plate because everybody, it's like that sort of shit. And he's just kind of like, he just kind of does that. So, but your life is absolutely beautiful as it is right now. Okay, you might not see that, but I see beauty. I see beauty in the dark. We all have pain. We all have something that fucked up that happened. We have something that has damage and that lingers, but you got to take that as fuel. And you can make that better sometimes by at least transmuting that energy into something that is profitable for you, so you can enjoy your experience. Maybe you can do something right. Maybe you can make up. Maybe you can't. It's not, you don't need to cling up onto that either. You need to just own your shit. But when you detach from that, you will make room for a lot of manifestations. I don't worry about shit, but I'm also ready. I'm also willing to work very hard, and I do work very hard. And the kicker is I don't have to work very hard, but I had to prove to myself so I can get to that point of feeling worthy enough to ask for help when I finally did everything that I possibly could and nothing was working for a long time. And oh dear, King Belial is just like, all you had to do was ask for help. And I'm just like, really? Because every time I do a spell with him, it 100% works. And I just go, I could have fucking done this the whole time. I worked up to this point so I can do the spell. And he's like, yeah, all you had to do was just ask, and you could have. And that's the kicker for some of us. So plus I have a spell that's like chirping at me behind here, so I'm going to pay attention to that. You can prosper, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and try to be gimmicky or sell any idea. I'm still on my journey, and I'm telling you that there's a lot that I can't talk about right now, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But it is absolutely miraculous how energy works when you start getting your mind right and you start really deep diving and healing yourself. There's no beautiful finish line. There's no, I'm healed from all of my no, just you're going to fucking carry it easier because you built the endurance for it and you made space for more abundance, and that's also going to bring on some problems sometimes, all right? And that's how it is. It's like the equivalent exchange of the universe. So I'll talk to you guys later.